Welcome back to the Daily Thunder podcast. This is week 7 recap. I'm your host, Ryan Woods, and I am here as always with the stud Daily Thunder beat writer, Brandon Rabar. Brandon, how are you?
Oh, much better after that introduction. Man, that was, I feel nice. No, it's, go ahead. I'm still basking.
Before we jump into Thunder stuff, I wanted to see if you had watched Yellowstone yet.
I watched, okay, so the premiere was 2-hour-long episodes. I watched the first hour-long episode. I'm actually headed now to get myself a little coffee to watch the second hour tonight. So I watched the first hour last night, then the second half tonight.
We are connected in this way. I've also only watched the first one, excited to watch the second one tonight.
Oh, you want me to get you a coffee while I'm out?
Yes, please do. Please do.
Right.
I'll send you my order. Well, you know what I like. You know what I like.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So the Thunder took down the Knicks in pretty convincing fashion on Sunday afternoon. We're going to get to that. And just a phenomenal game last night. We're recording this on Tuesday evening. A phenomenal game against the Celtics last night. Boston pulled it out in the end. Pretty substantial comeback. Lots to get into. And then the Thunder play tomorrow night in Washington, and we're going to get into all of that. So, Brandon, let's start with the Knicks game on Sunday. The Thunder brought their shooting in spades on Sunday at Madison Square. What is it about Madison Square and this team? Like I think they've won 5 in a row at the Garden. And it's just a place. I know a lot of visiting teams go into that building and want to put on a show. It's such an iconic place to play. And there is such an interesting and like unique environment. It really does live up to the hype, that place, and it shows in some of the performances that they get year after year from visiting players. But this team just thrives there, especially Josh Giddey, another great triple-double. We got a phenomenal soundbite from Wally Szczerbiak. Thunder fans, I'm sure you've seen it, but iconic, I would say. And it's been put to good use so far. But just your general thoughts on the Thunder and a great game at the Garden.
Yeah, last year was the big Josh Giddey Trey Mann game,
Mm-hmm.
where Josh Giddey probably had his best game as a rookie, and then Trey Mann had his best game as a rookie and led an overtime win on the backs of those two because Shea was out. This year, Shea's in. I feel like you can just kind of copy and paste the stats at this point. Like 37 points, 8 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. I don't know which night that was. It was like 3 of the last 4 nights. I mean, that's just the stats now.
Yeah.
Shea's just been unreal. Like he's the story every game. So it's almost like you have to pick something else to talk about because Shea's just a given. So Shea was phenomenal once again at the Garden. So I'll talk about Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey had his best game as a sophomore and a rookie at Madison Square Garden. His only triple-double so far this year. He was great. His floater game is on. When his floater game is on, you know, it kind of helps out his whole offense. You know, his assists, his playmaking are always going to be there. His rebounds have been phenomenal this year. The turnovers have been an issue, not in the Knicks game, but that Knicks game is kind of like the perfect Giddey game. The floater, the passing, the rebounds, the connector. He was just really, really good. That's kind of the ideal Josh Giddey game, and we got it in New York. Like if he played every game like it was at Madison Square Garden, we'd have 2 All-Stars on this team this year. But Josh Giddey, I think he had his 3 best games in a row, kind of culminating in that Knicks game. And so hopefully he keeps this momentum up. he struggled a little bit against the Celtics in some areas, was strong in some areas as well. But man, Shea is just, I said I was going to bypass it, not talk about it, but you just can't talk enough about.
He's just
keep
been
going
incredible.
Back to Shea. He's just so good. And you know, if you want to say that Madison Square Garden is the biggest stage, you know, because of the iconic arena and because of the market size and playing against the Knicks, then, you know, he brought, I can't even say he brought, it's not his best game of the year. It's like I said, like every game is a Shea game, but he did it again in New York. I mean, the team was just great against the Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good. I like the floater. He really likes that shot.
Yeah, Giddey.
Yeah,
he does. And you know, it's kind of up and down. Like when he hits it, he struggled with a little bit against the Celtics, but man, when it's going in, it's such a pretty shot. And he's doing this thing now where he's noticing the mismatches. He's like, I'm 6'8" guard, and they're throwing 6'3" guards at me. I'm just going to go down and post these guys up and shoot over them, and it's been working. I'd love it if we see that become a regular part of his game, and I think he's starting to develop that more. That could be such a weapon using that size disadvantage. Or advantage.
Josh Giddey's like, Giddey, triple double through the lane, just doing whatever the heck he wants. I'm going to need that video.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't even know if we're allowed to use that, but oh my gosh, what a hilarious soundbite. Yeah, he was phenomenal. The 3-point shooting we saw again from Trey Mann, Jalen Williams, JRE, like these guys were really, really solid. Even Josh had some really, really nice like catch and shoot moments. The one in front of the Knicks bench at the end of the quarter was really nice. Like he had some really good moments, and the whole team just shot so well. Like it was what was it, like 145, 135? Both teams shot the lights out.
Yeah, both teams just could not miss, and it was crazy to see the Knicks score, I think it was a franchise record, 48 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And then still lost the game. That's a testament, one, to, you know, how much offense was being played. I think it's a testament again, though, to the Thunder team in the fight, you know, to give up, you know, to have 48 points scored against you, be down double digits in the first quarter, and to come back and win that game. I mean, They just hitting everything that game. We saw it in the preseason. You know, the Thunder been struggling from deep this season, but we've seen kind of hints that this could be a team that any given night could go crazy from three, and they just happened to do so against the Knicks.
Yeah, it was awesome. The pace was good. I think Oklahoma City now leads the league in pace. Seems like something they're really focused on. Is getting up the floor even after made baskets. The team is flying. I was watching that game on the Knicks feed. Mike Breen was calling it with Walt Frazier, and they like just marveled at Shea pretty much the entire game, as well as Giddey. Like their speed, their control, the way the ball moved. They talked a lot about just how disciplined they were with closeouts and defending without fouling and being physical while still not over the top where you're just going to run out of fouls super fast. But how well coached the team was. It was really fun. And obviously they're marveling at Shea and his ascent. This has been amazing. Like you're saying, that you're just copy and pasting like 35, 36 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. Like it happens routinely now. And I was trying to think back to like when we first traded for him, like I didn't know, that he would ever become a 25 point per game scorer. I didn't know if that was in the cards, that he wasn't touted as some, dead eye shooter by any means, but he was like a crafty guard. This is a whole new thing. Yeah,
the way he's scoring this year, obviously in the paint, at the rim, drives, mid-range. But he's hitting from outside as well. We saw it 2 years ago. He was like a 42, 43% shooter a couple years ago before he got shut down. He struggled last year from deep. But I'm telling you, a lot of that had to do with he was trying out that step back 3-point shot. Mm-hmm. He's getting so many double teams. He's having to create off the dribble, create his own shots so much. Like, he doesn't get very many catch and shoot opportunities. But when he gets catch and shoot opportunities, he hits at a very, very high clip. And we saw that in these last couple games. And, he's such a good free throw shooter. Like, the guy can shoot. I believe in the shot. And for his career, he's like a 35% 3-point shooter. He's now up to like 37.4, I think it is, something like that. So he's above NBA league average now. I think he's a good shooter. And his drives, his craftiness, he's such a unique player. Like, you try to find a comp for him and the way he scores. And, I've heard there's been some decent ones, DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, guys that get to the rim or shoot from mid-range, but he's kind of got the whole package. He's kind of got the whole bag. He's getting to the free throw line a lot. He's scoring so efficiently without shooting a very high volume of threes. The stats going around now, he's shooting the highest field goal percentage for a guard scoring over 30 points a game since Michael Jordan 32 years ago. He's just doing some bizarre things. He's the only guard to average 2 steals, 1.5 blocks a game ever, except for Michael Jordan. I mean, he's doing some crazy, crazy things this year. Mm-hmm. And, the sample size is still small. We're talking about 13 games, but it keeps growing and he just keeps doing the same thing. Like, at what point, it's not surprising anymore to see him score 37 points, get 2 blocks, 2 steals, 8 assists and 5 rebounds. And it's nuts. Like, it's nuts that that's not crazy anymore.
Right.
It's nuts that it's not nuts.
Right.
That he's normalizing it. Like, Russell Westbrook normalized the triple-double. And again, 13-game sample size. This could change. But right now, no Thunder fan is surprised to see Shai score 37 points and just fill up the stat sheet like he's been doing.
37.8% from 3 on the year now. It's really, really improving. Anything else from the Knicks game that stood out before we move on to Boston?
No, I want to talk about that Boston game because I think that might have been even more impressive, even though they lost.
I love it. All right, let's go to Boston. 126-122 was the final. Just some raw numbers here. 37, 8 and 4 from Shai. 21 from Dort, who was a +5. Poku was a +5 for the game. 21 and 5 for Dort. 16 and 14 for Poku, who left the game for a small stretch after turning an ankle. Great to see him come back. 14 and 6 and 2 assists from Jalen Williams. We will talk about those 2 assists in a minute. And then 16 and 4 for Josh Giddey. He was awesome. I'll give you the floor. Like, where would you like to start here?
Again, you have to start with Shai. So just blanket statement. Shai was great. Yada, yada, yada. I mean, that's just the thing. So
13 of 26, 2 of 4 from 3, and perfect at the free throw line, 9 of 9.
And he scored 10 points in the last 5 minutes when the Thunder couldn't get a bucket and the game was getting away from them. The only reason that they were still, in that game and it could have gone either way and they could have held on and won was because of Shai hitting, buckets down the stretch. Look, I really think that this was a chance for the Thunder. If they were going to lay an egg, it would have been this game. It was the second night of a road back-to-back against a true title contending team in Boston with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Al Horford. This is a stacked team. They had every excuse to lay an egg this game, and yet they still come out. They lead by double digits. They lead for most of the game, for like 3/4 of the game. They're leading this game. It only got away that was probably the loudest crowd I've seen. The Thunder play against this season. The Boston crowd was really, really into it in that fourth quarter. It was a hostile environment, and it was just a matter of turnovers, a couple questionable calls there at the end. The Thunder probably got a couple in their favor earlier in the game, but then there were some that went in Boston's favor there at the end, and it kind of like, when it rains it pours type of thing. Some turnovers, and then Marcus Smart just like going crazy there at the end, just hitting shot after shot, some tough ones too. But I was just so impressed that the Thunder, not only did they not lay an egg, like they gave this true contending Boston team at home everything they could handle. And they could have very easily won this game had things just not gone south there at the very, very end of the game. I was just really, really impressed. And again, it was a team effort. It was Shea, but man, Poku was phenomenal. He was the second best player in this game. Lou Dort, he's been kind of criticized a lot for his offense this year. He's been stacking together some nice games lately. He was good against Boston. Jalen Williams was really, really nice this game. I don't know, man. That game to me, even though it was a loss, was kind of when you realize, man, this Thunder team is pretty good. Like it's not just I don't think it's this small sample size thing anymore. It's not just this fluky thing that they're competitive against teams. This Thunder team might actually be pretty decent.
Oh yeah. Like
this was the game that
feels like it feels like things have really shifted in the honestly, since the last time we talked. It feels like, and we've been texting about it throughout the week, but like it does feel like it feels like they've climbed to a different tier than when, like, my thought towards them as far as like expectations for the season and expectations for the draft, all of that it's definitely different than when we started the year. And it doesn't feel like they've been playing that much basketball, and it's all these young guys. Like this is fueled by these young guards and an emerging front court player in Poku.
Yeah, Poku, he's the sample size on him is getting bigger and bigger all the time too, that he actually looks like a good NBA player.
I think he's just good. I think he's just good now. Like, I don't know what else to say. He's just, he's a contributing NBA player.
He's top 10 in the entire NBA in block shots. The dude is still 20 years old. He's younger than half of the rookie class this year. It's so funny. And I've said it a couple times now, but if you go back to when he was drafted, everybody said, be patient. He's raw. He's a project. You got to be patient. And then at the end of the year, everybody's like, get rid of this guy. He stinks. But here we are 2 years later, and it's kind of coming together. I mean, it's not kind of, it just is. He's shooting well. He's at like almost 38% from 3-point range this year. He's blocking like 1.7 shots a game. He's scoring. He's rebounding. He's a connector guy. If Poku ends up being a solid rotation player on a playoff team, that is a huge win for the Thunder organization. And I think it's happening. Like I see it happening, and he's still so young and he still has so much, to learn, so much farther to go. But yeah, back to the original point, Poku sidetracked for good reason. This Thunder team, I think the trajectory and kind of the timeline is different because Shea is so good and he's making everybody around him better. But then also these young guys themselves are just pretty good. Everybody, like you said, is further along than we thought. And I just got to wonder how many more games would this Thunder team have won with Chet Holmgren? They've got a Chet Holmgren-sized hole at center, and they've lost a lot of really close 2, 3, 4-point games, overtime games. If Chet Holmgren's in there, I mean, instead of 6-8, are they 8-6 right now? I mean, I don't know.
It's fair for sure. I mean, I think where this team struggles is I think where this team struggles just from like a box score standpoint is rebounding. They can get hurt pretty good on the offensive glass. We saw it in the Boston game some. I remember one specific play. Boston ended up with, I think, 3 opportunities in one trip, and it eventually ended with a 3, like a kick out 3 after a couple offensive rebounds. Like those are huge momentum plays that, especially when you're playing on the road. I want to get to those turnovers. I think that was like the big, like that stretch in the third, like to close the third and into the fourth was a really detrimental stretch for them. The turnover, like just careless stuff, like getting it across half court. Like Boston did a really, really good job of just spooking young guys, and Poku will get the ball. And in this case, it was, I think it was between Shea and Poku, the turnover near midcourt, but like just a lack of confidence getting the ball across. Like no need to toy around with it. No need to look at each other. There's no pass to be made before you get across half court. Just get it across. Happened a couple times. Josh went to the same like spin move that kept resulting in live ball turnovers. It was just a lot of live ball turnovers that became like easy transition buckets on the other end. And I think it was a sign. I think it's a sign of inexperience. I think the crowd really fed into it. Obviously Boston is a very, very good defensive team. A lot of really good individual defenders. And they've been playing together a long time. So that's the kind of stuff you would expect from a young team, but they had dominated the game for so long that it still felt surprising when it happened.
Yeah, it really did. And it's impressive that it was a surprise, right? Like this is the youngest team, and they've been one of the best teams in the NBA as far as turnover ratio goes. So they've been taking care of the ball. So the fact that you're on the road in a hostile environment against this really good defensive team in Boston, and it's so shocking to see them, kind of lose control of the ball and of the game, I think is a testament to the expectations that have risen about this team, because they've done that. They've taken care of the ball in those situations. So, inexperience, youth, hostile environment against a really good team, a title contending team, a vet team in Boston. It goes in the win-loss column as a loss, but I really felt like this was one of the most impressive games for the Thunder this year.
I believe it was late in the second. I don't think they got all the way to halftime with only 6 turnovers, but I know late in the first half they only had 6, which against that team on the road. And I don't know if we've mentioned this yet. They had played the night before, like they had played the day before. This was these young guys logging a lot of minutes in back-to-back nights against. I mean, Boston's just really good. Maybe the best team in the league right now. And they pushed them. They really did. But yeah, leading up to halftime, like they had just done such a good job of taking care of it, and the ball moved so well, was finding a lot of open looks. So kudos to them for how long they kept control, were in control. But those live ball turnovers, I think they're going to see a lot on tape that they can learn from. Specifically, Josh, I think he ended with 7 turnovers on his own. I want to make sure I get that right. I'm looking.
That feels right.
7, yeah, 7 on it. He finished as a +6 for the game, but yeah, 7 turnovers for Josh against 4 assists. Probably, if that's obviously no one knows that more than him, but that's a really good learning experience on the road in a place like that for him.
Yeah, no, it really is. It was back to back for Josh. He was so good against the Knicks, had his best game of the season, like we said, and then, struggled down the stretch against this Boston team. But like you said, it's just learning experience. He's got to tighten up the handle. He's got to take, better control of the ball. And I think that's all development for him. We're aware of it. Josh is well aware of it. And I think it's something that's going to happen. I'm not too worried about that long term.
I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the rotation. I've enjoyed the way that Mark is staggering Josh and Shai. Shai plays the entire first. Josh plays a good chunk of it. And then you see either Tre Mann, who didn't play against Boston. And remind me, I don't think he played against New York either.
I don't believe so, no.
But Shai is playing the whole first. Josh is playing the majority of the first, a good chunk of it. And then Josh starts the second with Shai out. But it's a lot of the same guys. You're getting a lot of minutes with J-Dub with Shai, and also with Tre. You're seeing a lot of Shai, J-Dub, and Tre Mann minutes together. And then those two play a bunch with Josh to start the second. I've really liked that they're getting these young guys, specifically J-Dub, a lot of minutes with other creators. And I think it's a benefit to him. And then his ability to create has had an impact on the rest of the roster.
Yeah, I'm really liking these rotations as well. It's kind of like you don't know what you're going to get any given night. It's like Forrest Gump and the box of chocolates. I know that Shai's going to get a lot of minutes, Lou's going to get a lot of minutes, and Josh is going to get a lot of minutes. Other than that, you don't know how many minutes anybody's going to play or when they're going to play or how they're going to be rotated. But I do really like when they are staggered. So, there's a time where SGA can completely be in control of the ball, have the ball in his hands, run the team. Then there's times where Giddey has the ball in his hands and runs the team. And I do like that trio when it's Giddey, Mann, and J-Dub off the bench. It's just a fun, young, you got two shooters and J-Dub, I still think he's a shooter, and Tre Mann, Giddey running the show, but they all can create, they can all play make, and they all have such fun offensive skills. And the SGA Giddey dynamic, I think, is still a work in progress. I'm not worried about it in the least. It's a good problem to have that you have so many guys that can handle the ball, that can play make, that can set up an offense. Like, this is not something the Thunder are used to. It was like Russ and KD, and like nobody else could dribble, or set up guys. So it's a good problem to have. And, I see a lot of questions about it. I think that SGA is totally bought in. I think that Giddey is totally bought in. I think that SGA is one of the best scorers in the league, but he's also a really, really good playmaker, and he needs the ball in his hands to be effective. But Josh Giddey is a really, really good playmaker, and, I think his scoring game is improving, so he needs the ball in his hands. So I like when they stagger, so they each get that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing them grow together even more and more when they're on the floor together.
J-Dub was really, really good in that game last night. He scored the first 6 in totally different ways. His cutting along the baseline is really good, and it reminds me a lot of like young Harden, the way that he and Collison worked along the baseline. It has this feel like there's such a maturity to his game, such an intelligence to how he moves, and like there's just like you can tell Shea has such confidence in him. Like he can really lean on him when they're out there together, and Josh as well. And his like then you'll see him, and this is also kind of hard-esque, but like those one-handed bounce passes to a cutter on the baseline, the defender that's guarding the guy in the corner kind of falls to sleep. This team is full of guys that move without the ball. Kenrich Williams, JRE, these guys are really doing a good job of providing targets to guys that are on the move with the ball. And Jalen has been incredible at looking for that.
Yeah, J-Dub's passing was the most underrated thing about him coming out of college. His playmaking at Santa Clara was so good, but nobody talked about it. Everybody talked about his shooting. Everybody talked about his scoring. Everybody talked about his measurables, like his 6'6" frame with a 7'2" wingspan and his defensive potential and his vertical and all those things for good reason. And then you go back and look at his tape and you look at his numbers and you look at like draft analysts and they're all like, this is one of the best passers in college basketball. But for some reason, that kind of got swept under the rug after he was drafted and nobody really talked about it much. But you see it. He's a really creative, smart, high IQ passer. And again, that's just like the new Thunder prototype between Giddey, between SGA, J-Dub, even Trey Mann, you see it. Even Poku, you see it. These guys can all play make, but I think that right now J-Dub could be the backup point guard, no questions asked. Like if they weren't staggering SGA and Giddey, and you see it in a few minutes a game, J-Dub does have the ball in his hands, and he's kind of leading the backup unit.
Yep. What was your reaction to the Aaron Wiggins putback dunk?
Oh, it was awesome. Like, it's funny. You just don't see that from Aaron Wiggins very often. Like, didn't know
that was possible.
One of these young guys will pop off and do something. Like, I didn't know they had that in his bag.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we hadn't seen that from Aaron Wiggins yet. So that was sweet to see. It's funny, like we saw it from Trey Mann last year, and I think that shocked everybody when he got a couple of those highlight dunks.
Yeah,
and then out of nowhere, Wiggins with that nose. It was awesome.
It was really, really fun watching a young team that I think Thunder fans are starting to realize like this team's pretty good. Like it's fun watching other coaches, other staffs, other players, other like road arenas, road announcers realize the same thing. Like these guys are competent. Like Mike Breen mentioned it more than once. He said this team watch out for Oklahoma City. They're a team that could go from 32 wins to like high 50s wins in one season. And obviously they're a work in progress, but like you're saying, Chet is going to make such a big difference. Like this team is improving so much. Chet was like this. He was what we were anticipating. He is what all of those losses were for last year. Right. And then you get him and then you don't have him for the season. The entire year he's out with this injury. And yet the team is taking a leap without him. And he's getting to see it. He's got a front row seat to the entire thing. He's going to make such a huge difference. Like imagine adding Chet and let's just say a lottery pick to this team next year. Like how good could this team be if you spend a little bit of your money, because they're going to have some in the summer, and you add Chet and you add another solid, presumably another solid rookie. It's crazy. And we haven't even talked about Ousmane Dieng, who's been playing in the G League for the last couple games. We haven't even seen him on this team. Like he's doing great things. He looks like you would want him to look in the G League. He looks better than the other guys. He looks like a why is this guy here type of player. a lot like Lou Dort did in his first year. It's crazy. So I ask you this. Are you rooting for wins? Are we supposed to be rooting for wins? I felt really bummed when they lost yesterday, and this is all coming back as new, because the last couple years I would have been pulling for Boston to pull that game out, because there was such desperation to get much higher levels of talent on this team. And right now I find myself pulling for wins. I know that sounds crazy, but where are you at? Have we reached just a totally new place where it's now go win all these games?
Yeah, it's such a strange but familiar feeling, I think, for Thunder fans, because you've been rooting for ping pong balls for the last couple of years. And Wembanyama is out there. Scoot Henderson is out there. Like, one generational talent and one really, really good, if not generational talent as well, are out there. And yet, here you are rooting for the Thunder to win. Like, you kind of find yourself doing. I think it's a combination of a few things. I think it's because Shai's become that good, right? Where you feel comfortable.
That's where it starts. Yeah. Like, he has taken the leap of, this guy's going to be an all-star, but like, is this guy going to make an all-NBA team? Like, like, up to this point, he has been one of the, what would you say, 3 or 4 best guards in the league. Like, I sincerely think he would make, like, if the season just stopped today and we had to make all NBA teams, I think he would make second team all NBA.
Yeah, he would. He should. Like, if
that's what makes, like, that is the tone setter. That is the reason we're having this specific question being asked. And I think you and I individually are getting this a lot from people. Like, are we supposed to be rooting for these wins? Why am I feeling like the old days when, like, every game, like, if a loss was just so painful, like, I'm feeling those feelings again. Is this right? What is going on?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. You know that you have a guy that's a star right now. Like, he's going to be an all-star. He should be all NBA. Like, if it were going to stop right now, like you said, and he might be becoming a superstar, not just an all-star. Like, that is definitely in the realm of very good possibility of happening. So when you have that, and he's 24 years old, and you have Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams and Trey Mann and Poku, and you see all this potential in Lou Dort and Ousmane Dieng, who you said, like, has been tearing up the G League and looks promising. And then you also have Chet Holmgren. That's the other big piece. Like, that's the other missing piece of this equation. Knowing that next year you have a star in SGA and you have Chet Holmgren, who very well could be a star. It's, who knows? Who knows how it's going to end up? But, it should be
said he's the highest rated prospect on this team.
Yes, he is. And most draft experts feel like he is an all-star in the future. Like, you never know how it's going to pan out. But you feel really good. You feel like you're adding a number 2 overall pick who has star potential to SJ, who is already a star. And then you have all these shots with Giddey, Mann, Dort, Poku, Jalen Williams, Ousmane Dieng. And then, like you said, you're maybe adding, a top 10 pick probably as well in a very, very stacked draft class. So you kind of feel good no matter what happens. So that old feeling of rooting for wins, and you're rooting for, I think, these guys as well, because you see how much they want it, and you want it for Shai and you want it for Dort, and they're fighting so hard. And it's like, well, if they're winning now and they're going to add Chet and a draft pick and they're going to keep growing, and they have all these draft picks in the future that they could trade for another guy, and they have the salary cap space, it's kind of all gravy. If they win, it's great. You can celebrate it. And if they lose, hey, that's more Wembanyama and Scoot ping pong balls.
It's a good point about you. Like, you've seen these guys and how much it means to them. And in that, not that it didn't mean a ton to them in previous years, but there was this sense of almost this sense of like duty, like this is the plan. It was built to be this way. But it's not going to be like this forever. Now, it like you're saying, you want it for these guys because they've been at this for so long now, and they're just so competitive. They're just so competitive in all these games, no matter what. And I'm going into these games. I wasn't surprised at all that they went in and were incredibly competitive against Boston. Like at the beginning of the year, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's going to be a double-digit loss. And if it's not, something happened. I wasn't surprised at all when seeing the fight, seeing the efficiency, seeing the IQ, all of it. They're building such a chemistry amongst the entire roster. It's not just the starting five. We're watching Shea leave the floor with a lead and watching him return to the floor with that same lead. And it's like, that is not how it used to be. We watched Russ, struggle, not he personally, but like the team struggle when he left the floor. This is a very, very different type of roster. And it's like they're doing it at such a young age. It's really exciting. And like what you're saying with Chet, like he's going to be so productive from day one. He like the role is just there. It's his. It's just so clear. You can watch these games and imagine all like the impact that he's going to have on these lineups. It's going to be a lot of fun, a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is. I think knowing that you have SGA and Chet Holmgren, it just makes the future feel bright no matter what happens. So it's kind of like it's going to be okay. Like I think there was a worry and a fear, like, are the Thunder going to get back to relevancy? Are the Thunder going to get back to playoffs? How long is that going to take? I think that SGA's ascension and this team already being competent and competitive, him becoming a star and knowing that you get to add Chet to that and all these draft picks and all these shots of some of these other guys panning out, maybe becoming stars or really, really strong role players, the future feels brighter. So you can kind of enjoy whatever happens. You can enjoy wins, or you can enjoy getting more ping pong balls for shots at Wembanyama and Scoot.
Yeah, no doubt. And at this point, like, I have to say, it feels like that the ship for like one of those top two guys has sailed. Is that how you feel, or do you still feel like at some point this could turn into them, shutting guys down and really trying to bottom out?
Sam Presti said at his exit interview last year and at his pregame interview with the media this year that as long as the team is playing competitive games or games of consequence, those were the words he used, they'll play. Once there's no more games of consequence, then they'll shift to, development was the wording. So basically what that means, as long as they're have a chance of making the play-in, they'll play them. Once it's like mathematically not a chance to be in the play-in, I think then you'll start to see guys rest. Some, I don't know if you'll see, back-to-backs, shutting down. You get to rest tonight, you get to rest this other night, that type of thing. But other than that, if they're, in the hunt, I think they'll let them be in the hunt.
I agree. I think that's exactly how it's going to go. Like, as long as they're healthy and competitive, I think they're going to let this team go. And that begs the question, is this team a play-in team?
Okay, so they're in a play-in spot right now, and they've played against a really, really tough schedule. But there's a couple of weird things going right now. Like the Warriors are going to pass them. That's going to happen. The Timberwolves should. At this point, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But the Timberwolves with Cat and Gobert and Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell should pass them. I feel like there was another team. I'm not looking at the standings right now. I don't have it in front of me.
The
Lakers, the Lakers
yeah,
obviously should, but who knows? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to read you. Houston's at the bottom. Right above them is the Lakers. I don't know how you feel about the Lakers, but they're 2.5 behind us. At 6, they're 3-10. We have matching records with Golden State, Minnesota, San Antonio, and Oklahoma City. Those 4 teams are all 6-8, and Golden State's in 10th. So they're tied for that spot. They're a game behind Sacramento. They're a game and a half behind New Orleans. 2 games behind the Clippers, and the Clippers are in 7th. So, Utah's up there, which is a surprise. We'll see how long that lasts. I wouldn't be surprised at all, one way or the other, if they stayed relevant for the majority of the season. Good on them. But I also could see them taking a nosedive. But who knows? But they are playing. I mean, they're playing really good basketball. Like they have the second best point differential in the West. Really impressive what they're doing. Their home court remains like elite. Like they have a really, really good environment there. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we're sitting, post trade deadline, and we're still around the same, tied for that 10th spot. It'll be, I think as long as they're healthy and going after, like this team is competitive, and Shea is the best player on the floor many, many nights.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Thunder are going to win more games than people expected because Shea is just that good. And because these other young players are better than people thought and better than people anticipated. I don't know if they're a playing team this year or not. I would guess that they're not because, like we said, the Warriors and the Wolves should ascend. The Lakers should. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But the difference is those teams, no matter what, are going to fight for wins at the end of the season. But if the Thunder are out of it, then, they're not going to fight for it anymore. I think that this is the last year. My prediction is they're not a play-in team this year. If they had Chet, maybe that's a different story. But I don't think they're a play-in team this year. But next year, I think that they will be.
The Utah Minnesota situation reminds me of after that trade is what we're seeing with the Seahawks and Broncos. Like Minnesota gave up so much to get Gobert, and they're staring way up at Utah in the standings right now. And Utah feel like they play as if they've been liberated from a team that was really the vibes were bad with Mitchell and Gobert, and had been for a while. And it's a good lesson. Like you can take on these picks and still remain pretty good. you can be better than you think, and you still have this insane haul from one player. Minnesota, if I was a Timberwolves fan, I would be in all-out panic.
Yeah, I feel bad, man, for Wolves fans. I got to say, they thought that this was going to be the year. You make an all-in move like that, and you have 4 guys who are all-star caliber guys. They're either all-stars or you're Anthony Edwards, who some people say is their best player, and he's the only one that hasn't been an all-star. So you have a team that should be a contender on paper. I don't know if it's a funky fit. I don't know if it's chemistry, because we've heard, some buzz come out of there that, guys aren't happy, whatever it is, if it's the culture or whatever you want to say it is, I don't know. But this team should be much, much better. The Thunder don't have any all-stars. We know that Shea is an all-star. Should have been an all-star a couple of years ago. He's going to be an all-star this year. But technically, at this point, have 0 all-stars. And the Wolves have 3 and an Anthony Edwards, and they have the same record as the Thunder. And I think the Thunder have played the harder schedule so far. It's crazy. I mean, it makes no sense. But and again, to go back to the Thunder rebuild, that's why Sam Presti doesn't want to take any shortcuts. That's why he doesn't want to skip the line. That's why you build the foundation, you build the chemistry, you build the development, and then you can kind of layer in those pieces. And maybe that's what the Wolves felt like they did, because they had a pretty solid season last year. And so maybe they felt like adding Gobert was the missing piece. So credit to them, and maybe they'll turn it around. But that also shows you got to get the right guy when you're going to go all in. Like you got to make sure it's going to be the right fit for you on court and in the locker room. And I have faith that the Thunder are going to take the right avenue when that happens, when they're at that stage.
All right, we're going to wrap it there. Oklahoma City plays in Washington tomorrow night. Thunder visited the White House today. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander Hamilton in the room where it happens. Like, are you serious? Where do you come up with this stuff?
I'm weird, man.
I mean, that's one of your best. That's one of your best.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
As a Hamilton stan, that's pretty good. When's the next time you project they're back at the White House for a very different type of visit?
For a very different reason, 2026.
I love it. I love it. We're on the record. There we go. All right. Just in time for Shea to decide to stick around for another contract. That's right. That's right. I don't even want to think about that, to be honest. Thunder Wizards tomorrow night. We will be back next week to cover the next few games and anything else that happens. But Brandon, as always, thank you very much.
Absolutely, Ryan. Have a good night. Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey, Daily Thunder fans. We just wanted to take a minute to let you know how you can support this show and other Daily Thunder content. The first thing you can do is subscribe to our Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you get access to our morning roundups of Thunder news, notes, and commentary. Another way to support our site is by visiting one of our partners, Shopgood. Daily Thunder has numerous custom-made designs listed on Shopgood's website. All original, hand-printed, and perfect for any Thunder fan looking to add a hat or shirt to their wardrobe. Most items come in a variety of color schemes, including our Thunderbird and Thunder Shield tees, which pay homage to Oklahoma's Native American culture and state flag. Your support is vital to our success, allowing us to do things like pay contributors and set up live events like in-person watch parties. It also helps keep DailyThunder.com free of paywalls and intrusive advertisements. Any and all contributions made are greatly appreciated by the entire Daily Thunder family.